When I was in year six, I was in teaching when it was the pandemic. And that gave us a situation that was different in the sense that we didn't have SATs to prepare for 2 of the years because of the fact that we were in and out of school. But we did have quite a lot of time in school in those years without SATs, without standardized tests to prepare for in year six. And so that gave me the freedom to try new things and actually have a go at what it would feel like in a classroom without the pressure of preparing for standardized tests. And for those listeners that aren't teachers, the year six, when the children are 10 and 11, that's when they do their end of primary school SATs exams. And really, the entirety of year six is focused on getting them ready for that because these tests are very high stakes. They affect how you show up in league tables. They affect what your Ofsted inspections look like. They affect everything, really. So it was this unusual situation that we had in year six where we didn't have that to prepare for, which was completely unknown. And so I used my early years background to change the timetable in year six. And Monday to Friday, we still did sort of what would be classed as a formal year six. Sorry, Monday to Thursday, a formal year six. And then on Friday, I used the day as a self-directed learning day. And I raided the reception classroom, got all the toys and got everything that you wouldn't expect to see in a year six classroom and set that classroom up with all of those things, including things like small world characters. And with those, we put the iPads out. And what happened was those year six children accessed those resources in an age appropriate way for year six. So we started to get stop motion videos that were happening with the small world characters. We had magicians, people. I put playing cards out, and all of a sudden, there's children teaching each other how to do tricks. And we'd got engineers, and we I can't remember what they're called now, but those scientific models where when you start one thing off, it has an ongoing effect, like a domino effect, and it knocks the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing, and you can set it up with like swinging balls that then knock a tube that then roll over, and it's got a name and I can't remember, but it's great for inquiry and exploration and learning through failure and all of the things. And we had a huge one of those that went on for weeks and weeks, and the children kept coming back and setting it up. And what happened was, as a teacher, I loved those days so much. They brought me so much joy. The children loved those days, those Fridays so much. I had parents telling me that their children who had been struggling to come to school were starting to love it because they lived for the Fridays. And I started to build great relationships with parents. I started to know my children better because I was engaging in this self-directed play with them. And so I was starting to chat to them outside of formal learning. So I was then able to approach the way their formal learning was in a better way because I knew what made them tick as a person as well as what they needed to get through in their work, as it were. And so the point to all of this is that really, I think when we have these standardized tests, what happens is it narrows the curriculum right down and it makes us focus on the things that matter, but it makes us feel like those things matter more than anything else. And what I discovered in those years when we didn't have them to prepare for was that the relationships and the connections that we built through that, on top of all the other wonderful skills that the children were getting to practice on those days that we didn't on the other days, were foundational then to the next year when we did it again with SATs, were foundational to actually getting great results. It didn't make any difference. In fact, the results were better because we carried on with this self-directed play on a Friday, which would seem crazy to do in a year six. So what I've realised that happens is that these standardised tests do narrow the experiences of both the children and the educators. And that then leads into this question that you gave me then around what's the current situation like? And I think the current situation is a very narrow curriculum and not enough opportunities for children and educators to connect in different ways, and not enough opportunities for children to learn in age-appropriate ways that are outside of a paper, pencil, desk situation in the main.